Hello everybody, welcome to Story Time with Loretta Davis. Well, you probably say, she got a story this time of day. Well, it was kind of like a moment of inspiration that I received when I was actually driving. So I just stopped to actually share this with you on the subject of obedience. But first of all, I want to say thank you so much for sending in comments and listening to my stories. You know, just the other day when I posted forgiveness, you know, it was such a blessing. I got some great comments like Richard Dang. He said, oh, it was just what I needed. So I'm so happy about that because I'm posting something people need to hear. And Tanjika, she said, Miss Loretta, your stories are really stirring up my faith. And that is the purpose why I'm actually sharing these stories, to help motivate people's faith and build their trust in the Lord. Because if he did it for me, he can do it also for you too. And just encouragement of going forward, like Lila and Marvin, and they were just telling me, go forward with it, tell your stories. And my family, and my girlfriend, Barbara, whenever I'm stepping out to do something, Barbara's always there to pray with me. She's a great prayer warrior, been my prayer warrior for years, So I want to just be grateful and thankful of everybody, of all the comments that you're sending in. But today I want to talk about obedience. The Lord gave me this about obedience. He brought my mind back to the scripture about Naaman in 2 Kings, the 5th chapter, and it talks about Naaman almost missed his miracle. And let me just give you a description of Naaman. The Bible said he was a great man. He was a man of valor. He was the captain of the host of Syria, and he said that he was a honorable man. And it said, but he had leprosy. And I thought about, how even though we have these, I would say, inabilities, we can't do certain things that we think, but God still uses us. It said, but he had leprosy. Even though he was a great man and he had all these titles or whatever, he still had a condition and that could have hindered him in some kind of way. But because at that time they used to call him unclean, when you had leprosy. And so, during the time that he won this battle, it said that there was a little girl that was captured from Israel, and she became Naaman's wife, maid. And so I said, my imagination says, a little bit, she probably was in the kitchen cooking, and the little maid came in there, the little girl, she said, I know a prophet in Israel that can heal your husband of this leprosy. And it said the word got back to the king of Israel, the king of Syria, and he sent a letter to the king of Israel. And the king of Israel actually thought he was trying to start a quarrel with him. And so he said, well, I'm not God, I can't heal him. He said, well, by the time you get this letter, Naaman going to show up. So Naaman ended up going to the prophet Elijah's house, and Elijah didn't even come to the door. He sent his servant to the door and told him, said, just tell him to dip in the Jordan River 7 times. And Naaman was insulted because, okay, he's the captain of the host, and he gonna tell me to dip in the dirtiest river, which is Jordan. I've heard that it is the dirtiest river in Israel. I don't know. I never been there. Hope to go someday. But he said, so he was insulted that he told him to do that. And so he was stomping away, sure. And he said, surely I thought that he would just wave his hand and I would be healed of the leprosy. And so I got to thinking about what he said, surely I thought. And sometimes we let our thoughts get in the way of obeying the Lord. And so he was about to miss his miracle because of what he thought. Sometimes we think that it's going to happen a certain way, and we can't really figure out how God's going to work it out. We just got to trust him and obey. And so one of his servants heard him, and they said, well, Master, if he'd have told you to do some great thing, wouldn't you have done it? And so he got to thinking about it. In other words, he was saying, well, either way, you're going to get healed, So if he'd have told you to do it great, something great or something small. So he went on and dipped in the Jordan River 7 times, and he was healed. So I want to encourage you about whenever the Lord's telling you to do something. You may be in the grocery store. There's someone ahead of you, and he says, well, pay for their groceries. Well, anything that's good. God said, and there's nothing good in us, but what comes out good in us is God, telling us. So just do it. And he's trying to get a blessing to you also too. He may tell you, well, why don't you give that guy that that extra car you got in your yard, you know, and you battling over, you thinking whether he's worthy of it or not. Just do it, because he's trying to get a blessing to you. Remember, the blessing is in the obedience. And so you just bake your neighbor a cake, something small, you know, whatever the Lord's telling you to do, just do it. That's what I'm saying. You know, I found out on my part, when the Lord tells me to do something, not all the time I get it right, but it is usually something maybe I didn't want to do, something that didn't make sense, you know. But when I did it, I got the results. So I just want to encourage you that the blessing is in the obedience. And until next time, I want you to join me with Story Time with Loretta Davis, and have a happy new year. Oh, and by the way, it's turning 2018, and I hear people saying, you know, they're making their new resolutions and all of that. Well, that never really worked for me, but I want to encourage you. You can change it's just a mindset change. You can change your mindset before 2018, because nothing changes but your mindset. So I just want to encourage you that be blessed and happy new year. God bless you.